Gotcha. Let's see, that's on.
This conference will now be recorded.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We call this meeting October 4th at 12:30 p.m. to Marion County Commission to order now. And the first item is do public comments first, which some people up there, but nobody's lit up.
Does anyone have a public comment at the moment that's on the virtual meeting? If you do, please unmute your microphone so that the chairman can call on you. If no one is unmuted.
Yeah, seeing no one, will continue on with business.
Did you want to ask for any changes to the agenda?
Just make a note that we put an executive session in.
We've added an executive session after the 1:45 meeting with Road and Bridge.
Personnel performance?
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else want to add anything else? Public notices?
Yeah, so are you ready for administrative business? I can
Yes.
go through that for you. Okay, in your packet, you did have several just pieces of information. There is a public notice for KDHE. And then there was also a public notice of a proposed telecommunications project, so.
Do we have to vote on the?
Have they verified, have they applied for a permit on that, do you know?
And that would be a great question for Sharon. I
Yeah.
did not check on that.
Right out there by the other one.
Okay, I do have a salary sheet, I believe. Two salary sheets.
Read these out loud.
Yes.
Gregory White to $15.36 for the Sheriff's Department.
That's for a new corrections.
New correction officer. We have Tina Weiner for $2,300 a month, administrative specialist in the treasurer's office, starting 10/1.
Are those salary sheets headed back this direction?
Oh, sorry. I thought there was one more coming.
Just
forgot to put the minutes of September 27th in your packet, but they have not been approved yet. You do have them in front of you. Would like to try to approve those today if you have a moment to read through.
I'd move to approve minutes of September 27th and the payday meeting September 30th.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
I'll have you sign both of these. There's one on each side of the paper. Okay, we do have a pay application. It says pay application number 3 for the Marion County Heated Dock in the amount of $79,785. And we need approval.
Do I hear a motion? For that?
I move to approve pay application number 3 for the heated dock, $79,785.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Application's been approved.
Okay, then I'll have you sign it just down here on the bottom and date it.
Got the top.
No, yeah, just down here is where we've been doing them. Yeah, thank you. Okay, the next item I have.
Motion to approve the
Yes.
EMS station, application number 3, $117,285.30.
I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 4-0.
In your packet is the correction that we made on the September payroll. You might recall that we had an error on the withholding tax for one individual, and so this is the correction for that. It did not change the overall total, and I just need your signature so that you know that you're aware of it. Right, everybody's signature on that. And that'll just be added in with the previous payroll records. Did you have a question?
Oh. Shouldn't that tower application go to planning and zoning for a permit?
I think it's just to notify us.
This is a public notice.
Okay.
It's not an application.
Okay.
So, I will forward that on, but,
Okay.
We don't have to vote on
no.
No.
No. Yeah, that's strange they went that route.
Right.
The other.
I thought about the other one.
Well, they may already have an application in.
Sharon said no.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Looks like Brad's on there, so.
Okay, then the only other thing that I really have is that they did finish up the work that on the exterior, and they did recommend some additional work. That wasn't included in this bid, and I had mentioned about sealing the west side stairs, but there's also some pretty severe deterioration of the joints on the stairways as far as the stone. So the workman that was here today, he is recommending that we tuck point both of those entrances at the very least, because especially the north one, you can see the mortar between the stone is all in really bad shape. So unfortunately, that has to be, their estimator has to look at it before we can have any work done, but.
So we have to come back someday.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to give us a proposal of the cost, and then we'll bring that to you.
Would we need to rebid that then, that portion?
That,
As long
we
as
can, but it's not going to be a huge,
As long as they get it done before
Yeah.
contract deadline, then it's just a change order.
yeah. Well, we didn't,
No, because it wasn't included in the contract.
Well, no change orders usually are. They're usually just add-ins because the contractor's currently on the job.
so, anyway. That's all I have.
Oh, my turn. We're ready for the county appraiser. Go.
Couldn't hear you guys.
Yeah,
So,
Hello.
Hi. I think it's just my quarterly update. I don't really have a lot, but re-inspection should be completed by the end of this month. Residential should hopefully be done this week or in the next week. Brian will finish the commercial in Hillsborough, and Taylor and Mike will start the building permits while Brian finishes up in Hillsborough. We started land models. Carl and I started looking at them last week, and then he was here Friday. So we did the first couple of models in each type, and then I'll finish those, and he'll be here Wednesday, I think, this week, and then he'll kind of go over them, make sure I did all right. Michelle on Friday, she recertified oil and gas and personal property to the clerk, so that should be updated. We will have a new employee starting October 13th. And the other thing is we kind of talked to Lloyd, the front desk computer, we had them clean it up, and we thought it was working fine, but it's really slow. And then my computer has started to freeze. So some days it doesn't do it at all, other days it does it like 3 or 4 times. I don't know what the difference is. And then Brian's computer is really old. Also, it's as old as mine in the front desk one. I kind of got with Ashley, and I think Tina kind of gave her a little bit of information right before I came up here, so I didn't really have much time to prepare for that statement. But I know we have some money in the capital outlay, and then I don't know if we have any in our budget because like our education, we should have money in our education budget because that's pretty low. Or, you know, with doing virtual, we're not spending as much. And there might be some money in there. I don't know.
Are you looking to buy computers this year? And you have no idea as far as the estimate? Yeah. Well, you have in your budget $7,500 on capital improvement line.
Sure.
You haven't spent any of that. I don't know when we prepared the 2022 budget if we were planning on some of those funds maybe over, but
Sure.
I would think that you're probably, I haven't specifically looked at your budget to see overall for your whole fund to see where you are, but.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I wasn't really quite prepared. I was coming up here and then I wasn't quite prepared to say that, but since I was here, I thought.
You
put
don't
that
have
out.
bids yet on the computers?
Do what?
Do you have bids?
Lloyd sent us some. I mean, they're like $1,600 a piece. I
So-
think there was maybe a laptop and just some regular like minis.
So what I would suggest is that you get your bids together and maybe get put on the next agenda. And in the
Sure.
meantime, we can review your budget and you
Okay.
can see where you are, and then you can bring those to the board for approval.
Perfect.
Okay.
So you need a laptop for the field, out in the field?
No, these will be what we work on at our stations. We do have a tablet for the field, but, they usually come in and work on that once they get back in, so. It is kind of a weird situation, because we have Carl, who has a computer, and then if Carl does leave, next year, then we will actually have an open computer, but as of right now, we don't. Which Carl's computer is a laptop, so.
Do you have any of your technology on rotation? You know, like every so many years we're
it's-
replacing?
Not every 3 years it needs to go.
It's budgeted to be that way, but I think Lloyd was in our office the other day, and I think he said the computers that Brian and I are on, and that front desk one, they were like bought in 2012,
It's their deal.
and we haven't, I mean, they work, they still kind of work, mine kind of works for the
Once
most
you-
part, but Brian's doesn't have issues, but I know Brian and I's, both still have Windows 10 on them, and,
I'd suggest after you get them replaced, you just
yeah.
make
that's-
yourself a little chart with a rotational.
That's
It
what
is
Lloyd
in
and
their
I had
budget.
talked about.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have it in their
Every
budget.
3 or 4 years,
Mhm.
gotta replace one.
Which we did just replace 2 earlier this year, so Lloyd and I were talking, like, at some point,
You need to offset.
we have to offset
Yeah.
them, but since they're all kind of going bad at
Yeah,
once,
yeah,
it makes
rotation,
it a
they
little
won't
harder.
hit you all the same year.
Did you get 3 of them? 3 of them last year?
We
2.
got 2.
2.
Oh, and then we did update Debbie, so yeah, that was 3. And then
You need 3 this year.
And Mike's, Lloyd said Mike's is pretty outdated, which his is one of the high efficient ones too, because he will help Debbie with mapping, so. At some point that one will have to be upgraded in the near future as well. But as of right now, it works fine.
Well, that one probably won't be so cheap. It'll probably be a video gamer's computer.
Right.
Yeah.
And Lloyd was saying something like on Debbie's and Mike's, you know, to replace those more often, and then they can kind of be passed down to other people on staff because they're high efficiency, so they're better performing computers than what, I guess what we get.
You can get a couple more years life out of it.
Right. So you rotate them and get them the newer ones and kind of pass it down, because, you know, the software on them is constantly changing and better imagery and stuff. So I think that's all I have.
Okay, thanks.
You guys have any questions?
As long as everything's going smoothly.
So far, yes.
Ready for the spring season, I guess, when everybody have to get their taxes.
Hopefully, we gotta get through the winter season first, valuing them all, so, but no, I think it's looking okay so far, I mean.
You guys have hit a schedule on reporting. So,
Yes. Yep, I think we're on time right now with everything, so Brian keeps a pretty good schedule on the reinspection, so I think we're still on time with that, even being short staffed, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh out there?
Hey, Josh.
Morning. Afternoon. Just here for the quarterly update. But I will start off on, had a little incident on Saturday. The gal stepped off the curb at the transfer station, fell and hit her head on the vehicle. So those curbs were never painted. We're in the process of painting them right now. We're doing a safety yellow on that, so kind of break it up. Getting signs put up around the transfer station. Everybody seems to be clicking a little better and getting things done down there now, so.
Good question. Did you fill out an incident report?
No, I was gonna call you this morning, I plumb forgot about it, so
Okay.
I'll get that done. So,
You have a new employee, don't you?
he's been there for, I think about a month or close to it.
That's working out okay.
He's working real well, he's a
Good.
go-getter.
Good.
He's been
Kind
out.
we need.
He's been out pulling weeds and picking trash and, you know,
Great.
keeping things picked up around there, so.
Yeah, the road out on the north side looked real good Saturday.
Mhm.
Wasn't any trash on it or anything.
Yeah. They're doing pretty good down there now. So,
And the new person in the weed.
that gal, Audra, she's doing real well. She's picking up really fast on everything, is figuring things out quicker than I could. but-
That's good.
It's good.
Take a little weight off of you.
Yes, she's helped out down there quite a bit. She's studying, she's gonna start taking her spray tests.
Great.
So she wanted to do that too, so.
Truck driver from.
Still looking,
Waiting for paperwork.
you know, waiting on paperwork or somebody applies, so we're still on that, waiting on that piece of it, so.
On your recycle bin down there,
Mm-hmm.
have you thought about putting in a pit, you know, cement floor to put the metal on? So that
Oh, for that.
right now it sinks in the mud. you
Yeah,
know?
the metal, we hadn't really talked, you know, we kind of brought it up today, we talked about it, more of a barrier to keep from going into the fence and trying to keep people.
You need a floor too.
Okay.
People dump the metal out on the ground and it's a low spot to begin with and it's soft.
Mhm.
So the tractor doesn't get stuck, but the front wheels go into the mud and then dig out the metal.
Mhm.
There's probably lots of metal down in there, which
Probably so.
it's gone.
So
But if we had a nice
that's something we wanna look into
12 by 12
pricing or
pit, you know.
To
right
put-
now or.
To put the
Well, this
metal
one-
dumpster down in there?
No, you put, so they can pick it up, have 3 walls and a slab. So you just,
Oh, so you can drive into it.
yeah,
against the
a hard surface,
Mhm.
Like a silage.
concrete block type
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
but you had to put a floor in it though.
Yeah,
We had that slab out north over there.
yeah.
You were checking into, I guess.
Okay.
And they got the canvas thing fixed on the back for the trailer, where you load.
They did get,
floor.
yeah, they did get that one, where we bid that out, but
Yeah.
I were talking about something underneath, to try to keep it from going on the other side, so. So take that or get with Cody or something, see, can't get something drawn up on that. Cause right now it's just the chains and the rubber flap and, they catch them, but that rubber flap gets caught and it just bends back and it's not doing anything right now.
Got any word on the north doorway?
The north door, they,
Gonna add that north door?
oh, I hadn't, I gotta think about this one. He did call and ask what direction he wanted it to swing, but they haven't started on it yet.
Just didn't know if the ball's still rolling or if it get dropped, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of projects going around, so.
Maybe it's on order.
And,
Yeah.
you know, I know he asked which way he wanted the door to swing, and so I know he's gonna order it, and that's been a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So, other than that, you got anything else? Anything for you guys?
Haven't heard any complaints.
Well, that's good then.
When you don't hear complaints, that's a good thing.
Yep.
With staffing back up, is there a chance of extending hours again, or do you foresee that?
Hey, you know, I looked at it both ways, and before it was, you know, we might have somebody, you know, take off when somebody's trying to cover that, and it seemed more of a headache than just
Okay.
having. And we seem to have the public's been going back, you know, they've been a few dumps, you know, I know they've called, and since we got the cameras up, they've had a couple, and they've talked to the police, and they went and talked to the people, and that seemed to calm down quite a bit, so.
Good.
Good sense it.
All right.
But you can get back on the road.
Josh.
What have you?
Yeah, thank you.
In the immortal words of Clint Eastwood, improvise, overcome, adapt to show up early. All right. First thing I have is fuel bids. Transport fuel MFA was low, very competitive. Between first and third was about $200. So
I'll make a motion then to approve the transport fuel bid to MFA, $20,224.74.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
The other two bids was Cooperative Grain was $20,230.10. And Imp Service is
$20,000.
$20,000, thank you, $420.88 for the whole.
Yeah, two of them are $6 apart.
yeah,
$9
very,
apart.
very good, very good. All right. Sorry, right. This Friday is the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Program deadline. Didn't know if you guys had come up with anything else. Based on what I was looking at from before, Commissioner Dahlkin requested to try to put one on a rock road. The only one that's really significant on a rock road would be 170th between Alfalfa and Blue Stem. You kind of wind it a little bit and you go down a bridge. The bridge itself is one thing, but right after that, east of there, probably another 200-300 feet, there's a culvert down there that probably could use some rebuilding and widening too, so we could combine that. I don't think it will be part of the bridge program because it's not listed on the bridges, it's just a culvert. This program only deals with bridges on the National Bridge, inventory. So that would be the one I'd recommend if you wanted to go with the rock. Probably the other one that I would consider if it's on a dirt road would be the one at Holly between 80th and 90th. Both of these bridges are rated at 3 ton, so they are the lowest rated ones we have. Based on the dollar figures, the one at Holly is about $340,000, and the one on 170th is $350,000. So $150,000 maximum when it comes to this program, so we would still have approximately $200,000. The other option is to wait and put them into the bridge set-aside program, which ups that to usually it's 80-20 split. So unfortunately, when we start replacing these bigger structures under this program, we don't get as much money, but it's still $150,000 that we wouldn't have to come up with. So the other option, unfortunately, most of the replacement costs in here are going to be determined as to what kind of bridge it is, but none of them are less than $300,000, or right around the $300,000, which price of materials and everything else doesn't give you much option. So, any other thoughts, input?
What kind of traffic is there on the 170th?
That's the lake, the backside Lake Road.
Yeah, but it's way west.
Yeah, but
It's almost the county line.
That's a travel.
What number did I say that was?
That's a traveled one. 190th is a traveled one. Clover is a traveled one.
They say 30 ADT. None of these rural roads will have probably much more than that.
Right.
But we tried this 170th like maybe 2 years ago and didn't get it.
Okay, so it's been applied for.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a while back.
So then it is a priority bridge.
Well, I mean, it's a 3 ton, you know, and they,
Is that the one that's almost a low water crossing? I mean, it's way down there, right?
No, well, there's the bridge is a
You
little
got
bit
the-
higher up
you got
than
the
when you get down to the
hoop
bottom
and
of
the
the
house up there on the north,
Yes.
farmstead, and then it kind of slopes back to the
Yeah.
south and down in the hole.
Yeah, but the bridge is actually right as you come off the hill. The bottom of it is where I told you that other culvert is.
Culvert.
They have two different waterways coming in and meeting just after the bridge.
Okay.
The culvert down there is still a limestone that's been extended with concrete on both sides. So it really could use some adjustment too. But again, it wouldn't be on this program, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be done. But it'd be nice to do something if we could shut the road down at one time. But that would be my two recommendations out of everything that we have right here. But you know, again, the other one that we could look at is 220th and Falcon. That's actually been included also in the past. In fact, his cook plant Strobel originally had done some plans on it, but that's been years and years and years ago.
Which
Is that a $350,000 bridge?
They're all going to be right about that.
You're talking
It's
about
gonna be
on Falcon or on
Yes.
220th?
on Falcon.
On Falcon,
Yeah.
before you get to 220th.
Yes.
So if we were awarded, how would we pay for the 200,000?
It'd come out of the bridge fund or the cost share, whatever the case may be. So, or not the cost share, the capital improvement. So yeah, that's the unfortunate part about it. Now, these smaller structures, you'd hope you could get them down less than that if you could build like one of these Andy bridges or something like that. But you don't really know until based on these estimate costs here, is probably for a slab bridge. But even if you look at what that bridge is costing us over here on Goldenrod, I mean, it's gonna be pushing 300,000 just for a single span steel bridge. I have no idea what the materials are gonna be from now until then either. It's gonna take, this probably wouldn't go through or get designed till the middle of next year.
Where's the 80th and Hollywood?
So
So that's in a heavily, even though that's a dirt road, I'm guessing that's pretty heavily traveled.
I went out and looked at it again. As you come off of 90th going south, there's a house on the east side of the road, and then there's a little bit of a small culvert. I say small, it's a double bill culvert, not bridge length. You go farther east, or you go farther south, and there's a house on the west side of the road. That's the big farm, and then right after that is where the rock ends, and then the bridge is south of there. But that's the one that's only like 16 feet wide, maybe 14 feet wide. They take out the object markers every time we put them in because they can't get across them. It's only
That's what I mean, that's a heavily,
For-
that's
for-
almost all ag land down there.
Yeah, to take in his, because that's what he said too, I just can't get across it with my big tractors and combines. Well, again, it's a 3-ton bridge. So, now there is a possibility there that we could get by, because I think that is right at the bridge, minimum bridge standards of like 20 feet. Find out for sure. So that would be a possibility of probably reduced cost compared to the rest of them. But again, at the time, you don't know. It's got a 15-foot roadway. And it's 25 and a half foot steel beams. So, I mean, if not increasing the size too much, we could go with a 30 or 40 foot structure and probably still help ourselves immensely. And that would put us, if it was that small, we could probably still get back into those Andy bridges or something to that effect. So cost-wise, that was probably the one to go to, because I know the one on 170th, being higher up out of the ground, is gonna take more structure to get there, so.
Hate not to apply for something, but I'm kinda like Randy, it'd be nice if it was on a gravel road, but yet I know some of these dirt roads, especially in that part of the county, there's just farm equipment going up.
Well, and again, that's the liability that we have, and the fact is that, if one of these large pieces of equipment's going across, it collapses, that's gonna be very obvious what happened to it, but every time somebody goes across there's theoretically more and more damage, so if hopefully not, that a car goes across there and collapses or whatever. I mean, it's just one of those things. But like I said, cost-wise, it's pretty tough to try to justify some of these other structures when we have to come up with probably $150,000 to $200,000 out of our own pocket. So
So are you leaning more toward the Holly?
Well, like I said, I feel kind of like Randy does. It'd be nice if we had them on a gravel, all-weather type roads is where we're doing them, but yet I know all these dirt roads, especially when you get in that area of the county where it's all farmland and not a big equipment.
That's what we face on all these structures. The equipment's bigger and heavier and faster, and so.
You know, if it was out just in grassland area, probably look at it a little different.
So would 170th, did I hear right, it would work under a higher cost share program?
The bridge set-aside program is typically set up 80-20.
Okay.
Where the state feds pick up 80%.
And 170th would apply under that one, or would qualify under that one?
Yes, well, we could do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
What
what
is
I'm
the
saying is
application period on that? That'd be next year?
If I did that just come back out again? I don't remember, I got something last week that they were looking, they sent some more stuff out.
maybe do the Holly on this one and do 170th on the next.
Well, we just need to have, we need to have a couple bridges picked out so we can at least keep applying.
Yeah, and so Bryce has picked out a couple of recommendations for us.
They, like I said, there's no shortage. I mean, just in this
Oh, yeah.
book right here, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them at 3 ton.
Yeah.
There's 6 of them at 4 to 5 ton, and I just go right on down the list that, I mean, almost everything that goes.
I mean,
through.
we're not really doing our taxpayers a service if we don't at least apply.
We've got to apply.
It might be not the exact bridge that we're wanting to do, but.
Yeah, well, and like I said, based on the short span there, even if we raised it up just a tad bit, went with 30 foot, because that's another good thing about with this local bridges, we don't have to bring it up to current standards, which is essentially mean bring it up to 50, 100 year span. Well, it's just like the one on Goldenrod. We went from a 3 or 4 year flood, I think, to an 8, but we also lengthened the bridge. We took down the steel trusses because it was fracture critical. So in the long run, we gained an awful lot as far as that goes. But
Your area, Randy, that's Randy's area.
Which one?
The Holly one.
That's, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
over and right.
Well, I guess I'd make a motion that we proceed with the grant application on bridge for Holly between 80th and 90th.
it's Bridge 182.
Bridge 182.
You're asking about
I
that?
was asking.
What's that?
What about what? We still have discussion?
Yeah, I have to call for a
Yeah,
second.
we're in discussion.
Okay. The bridge that seems to keep coming back up, the 190th,
Right.
Chisholm and Bison.
Right. The biggest problem with that is that's going to have to go out for design also because of the permit applications. I'm trying to remember what, because that one was on here also.
Well, if it doesn't,
With that
if
one?
it doesn't allow it to qualify. then-
It was, well, it's going to be in the $350,000 range also because of the amount of water that goes through there.
So would that be another one to look at for the
The
set
next
aside program?
Yep, yep.
I mean, we kind of, yeah, Joey's right, we kind of need to keep that one on the radar.
Well, it goes, the problem with that one is it goes over a navigable waterway.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so
That changes things too.
we
You don't
can't,
want to be in a program category.
yeah, you want to be in a program.
You want to be in a cost share.
Yeah.
Because you have to do
It's
it
in
a
it's
certain
got a
way.
28-foot span. But I'm guessing that if you design it, it's probably gonna need more than that, just due to the amount of volume that comes through there.
Yeah, there's a lot more water that comes through there than what that bridge can take
Yeah.
right now.
Even for a-
And the other thing is hydraulically speaking, it's a very poor structure because the water comes in an angle, hits the abutment, basically does the opposite angle coming back out and then makes a curve going farther south,
And what can't make it under goes up over on the,
east side.
yeah,
Yeah.
east side.
Yep, but like I said, I think with the options, I mean, I understand what you're saying about Holly, or the 190th, but I like the Holly one. I think we can do a little better.
Yeah, I'm just thinking navigable waterway.
Yeah.
Where if it's not a navigable waterway, you're allowed so much more freedom.
Well, exactly.
Changes the game
Yeah.
rules. once
Now,
you get
the
there.
other thing too is, I've actually got some pictures, haven't got them put together for you. The 190th bridge also involves what we're gonna do with about the half-mile west of there also. We've got a lot of water coming into the roadway that if we don't ever deal with that, we'll never be able to correct that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of issues besides the
Yep.
bridge.
So, I mean, I think by, not say pushing it off, but waiting on that one to try to deal with these other issues, because if we have to deal with issues with waterway on private land, then we're gonna have to bring in, you know, whether it's our stuff or whether it's the NRCS or ASCS or whatever else, well, it'll have to be quite a team effort there. So.
So, go ahead.
My motion's
You make
on the
this.
table.
Just wait for a second. Go down.
Yeah, I'll second
Okay. Second by Ken. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's 4-0.
Okay, I'll get that done smooth by Friday. I think, I don't know whether you guys saw it, but all the commissioners were emailed for all the issues on the crushed concrete. Yeah. Anyway, I really haven't had a chance to go through that, but obviously you guys have looked at it too, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I will come back with some response. I will pass it on to you guys too to see what you say first. I guess my recommendation is hopefully we can deal with it ourselves before we have to get Brad involved with it, but you know, it is what it is. But the information is out there so that you have that. Updates, we should finish 60th east of Peabody, hopefully tomorrow, hopefully midday. Wednesday, tomorrow afternoon, we're gonna move the equipment down to Burns, try to do all the Burns, those through there. Hopefully no more than a day or two. And then I think, I talked with Steve, and that's kind of what he wanted to do also. And we're gonna move over and do Gossel on 120th, west of Gossel, and then possibly that quarter mile south on Alamo, there in town. Once we get to that point, I think we're probably gonna have to quit that and go to blade patching. It's getting cool enough now, we're still gonna deal with some extra time getting our tack to break, but we've gotta get some blade patching done while it's still somewhat reasonable. So,
Must have good weather for a while.
well, yeah, I mean, and to say good weather, obviously, when you're talking about breaking emulsion, you like to have it 90 to 100 degrees, but unfortunately, that's what we got, so.
This weekend's supposed to get back up.
Yeah, but you know, and that's, again, it's gonna be a day-by-day thing. The issue is we can go out there and spray tack and let it set, but while you're letting it set, you can't put the patch on it, so, I mean, you spray it and you let it set for an hour or so before you even go to work, but it is what it is. But between 120th, 150th, and Indigo, we've gotta get some patching done there, we've got a lot of other places too, so.
That's a little off topic maybe, but I was down in Newton the other day. You know, all their streets are like spray topped. Well, not all of them, but the area of town I was in, almost like they were all rubber streets. Is that a sealing method that you just don't do on county roads? It's just a city street thing?
Was it just like a fog seal?
It's like you walked on it, it felt like a quarter-inch of rubber was below your feet. Yes, it's neat,
Well,
but I don't know if it does good.
There's also a, can't think of what they call it. Basically, it's a mix of cement and other chemicals that they actually put down. It is kind of like that thickness. They use it a lot out on the highways to fill in ruts before they roll in because it's less expensive. I can sure check into it.
Oh, I didn't know if it was something new.
Could be. I mean, that's the thing is they're always coming out with new things. The biggest thing that those projects like that are processes are very good for city streets because you can do a little bit at a time and everything else. Well, down to the roadway, it takes a lot more, but I'll sure check into it, so.
Definitely.
What part of town was it?
Where was I?
That part of town. That part of town.
Send us a text.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I'm sure he was in it.
Yeah. Narrow it down.
Anyway.
It was on a house flip, so.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's
Should
not
take your
gonna.
pocket and cut a chunk out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have. I
Yeah,
probably would have
so-
got in trouble.
Is
Anyway.
that rock pile up on 15 north of Durham, is that hard rock?
At the mixing strip?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we gonna get that spread yet for?
I wish we could do so many things, but we're gonna talk
Well,
about it next.
it'd be nice to get some of that hard rock out for winter.
It would, that's the problem, is just coming up with the trucks to do it unless we turn around and contract it
Well,
out, we just haven't got to it.
I mean, can we put a loader up there and then contract the hauling?
I suppose we could,
I
you know,
mean,
that's where we're at, yeah.
We've got it there, it
Yeah.
just seems like it'd be nice if it was on where it needs to be.
One of the things that I've looked at, it'd be nice that, I don't know how the blade patching goes and how the fall's gonna go. We could go back and do some of those light builds, especially on 290th, east of Lincolnville, 360th going to Ramona. If we could pull up those areas just a little bit, that'd be a great place to put that rock. And so that's what I'm kind of looking at, is if, you know, again, with the fall, if November was to hold out decent, because it doesn't typically take a lot of water to do stuff like that. That's stuff that we can still do as long as it's not totally froze.
Just you don't want to put it on too late and then the snow plow goes through and it goes in the ditch.
Yeah, well, and I guess I'd like to be optimistic and say we're not gonna have to have that problem, but, you know, anyway.
You gotta put rollers on the bottom of your plows.
Well,
That
yeah.
way they can only go down so
Yep,
far.
Yeah. But no, I totally understand, we've got it up there at Durham, we've got it up at Lincolnville also.
Yeah.
So we've got it in both places.
But I see your priority, you've gotta get your chip seal done, you've gotta get your blade patch done, so until that's done, everything else is kind of on the
Yeah.
back burner. Then maybe November, get into
Well,
like
you know,
rebuilds
again,
and rock out.
I wish
Well, I mean,
But
what
it's just
are we
more
gonna
beside
be
the
down
road.
to, one truck, end of the month?
I don't know, the last truck driver has talked about going, so it'll either be 1 or 0 dedicated truck drivers. So that means pulling other people out of other equipment to put in them, or again, contracting it out, whatever the case may be, so. The project on 220th and Eagle, as well as the 190th and Nighthawk interchange. Anyway, we're currently working on purchasing right away for those two, not a lot, but it just, we do need a little bit. We will have a phone line on 190th and Nighthawk to move on the east side, but shouldn't be that big a deal. We are staying away from, I believe it's the fiber line and the water line on the west side, so that won't be a big deal. But they're working on that, so I anticipate the next month or two we should have all that done. Both projects are still scheduled for May, so there shouldn't be any problem with that. There is a possibility we can move it up early if we have everything taken care of, including the plans. But May is kind of would be a lot better time if you could let them earlier in the year and fit into somebody's schedule a little better than waiting until May, and obviously award in June, so your year's already started. But not too big of projects either way. The bridge really isn't an issue because they can build those all year long. So anyway, I can tell you I have gotten some new applications. One of them I think was lucky to barely fill out the application. One of them wants a minimum of $19 an hour. The other one wants $25 an hour plus. And the other one I think will hopefully can hire at 15. So anyway, just telling you that the people that are applying are definitely wanting a lot out there. So
That'll calm down here after a while.
yeah. And the Culvert at Nighthawk and 290th, we poured the last pour, the wings last Monday. They've got it stripped. They are patching and they're going to start backfilling. Once we get backfilling done, we'll have a rock base course and then asphalt. So I'm hoping that within 2 to 3 weeks, we could have all that done and open. So looking forward to that. The Goldenrod Bridge, they moved in a crane and a trailer last week. we'll be working this week to remove the bridge. We've had several people interested in trying to save the old bridge. Don't think the contractor can take it out at one time for numerous reasons. I don't know if they have a big enough crane to pick that up at one shot. Second of all, I don't know liability wise if they could get it out of there in one shot without totally cutting it up. So anyway.
Somebody wanted the bridge?
Yep, 2 or 3 people. One of them for sentimental values, one of them wanted to use it in a crossing, and so, but I just, I guess there's always the issue too of liability if it's a county bridge going to some private, but anyway, that kind of bridge, you'd have to pick it up at one shot from each end, and hopefully it didn't collapse, because that's the bad part about a fracture critical bridge, is that's why it's
fractured.
It's fractured, yes.
It's weak in the middle.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's the plan there, but they're still saying 6 to 8 weeks kind of there, so.
Have to be sold as art.
Yes.
That way you,
Folk art?
that way you wouldn't be liable.
And if it collapses, it's modern art.
Yes, yeah.
Not
And we'll talk to the attorney about how far the art goes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, so.
He's listening right
Yes,
now.
yeah, I know, I talked to him this morning, so.
Okay.
Did he contact you, Tina? Brad?
Yes.
Okay, well, the question is, do we need to talk about that in executive session, or is there an answer yet, or?
Yeah.
Well, if you have a personnel matter that you want to talk to them about, then yes, it needs to be an executive
Yeah,
session.
okay, but that's why I didn't know if you guys had come up with something that we need to talk about. Are we still working on more information, or is still up to them? The commission?
I think we should just go ahead.
We just need to go
Okay,
to
let's do
personnel
that.
performance,
Okay,
Yeah.
probably, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Maybe. Can we talk about different
Personnel.
subjects? As long as personnel.
Personnel performance, as long as you're talking about performance, under that, and it's under the exception number 1 for personnel matters of non-elected personnel.
You go for 30 minutes or 45?
I think start with 30.
Okay, move that we recess into executive session for 45 minutes to discuss personnel
Performance.
performance for KSA 75-4319B. And we'll resume at 1:55.
Who do you want? You want Bryce and
I
Tina?
want Bryce, commissioners, and Tina.
Brad.
And Brad remotely.
1:55 is only 30 minutes, you said 45. did you?
Ken wants 30.
30, okay.
No, didn't matter.
Yeah.
We can start that
We
way.
can come back out again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Second.
You got a second down there.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, was, okay.
Dave, you-
Okay, and this is just for personnel, specific
Yes.
performance matters that you're gonna discuss, right, okay. We will be back at 1:55,
Got a
just a
comment
moment
there.
here. Okay, just a second.
This conference will
Okay,
now be
I think
recorded.
I have everything back on, sorry it took a minute.
Okay, we're back from executive sessions, no, I guess we can't take action, no more.
No action taken.
No action.
And we're gonna go back into executive session. I move that we go recess into executive session for another 15 minutes with the board, Bryce, Tina, and Brad on remote,
Pursuant to,
pursuant to KSA 75-43119B.
and to discuss.
Just personnel performance.
Thank you,
Be
Bob.
back at 2:15.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we're back in session now, an executive session, no action was taken. And want to continue the road and bridge.
Well, you have another agenda item, which is the positions and pay structure, so.
Okay, talk about position, pay structure in the road and bridge department. And start off with Bryce, the equipment operators.
Well, I guess,
Can't be talking about anybody, but we can talk about positions.
Yeah.
Positions.
yeah, I'm talking about positions.
Twos and threes.
Yeah, you know, currently I'm 10 people short, so that brings up a huge issue on my part. Mostly affected by truck drivers, but yet we've got the issues all the way around. But in the middle of the month, I could possibly lose 2 more. So I guess asking the commission for some sort of guidance, directive, whatever else, as to what I can do, whether it's department-wide, whether it's county-wide. You know, I guess that's what I'm looking at, is my level of service right now is almost non-existent. Everybody calls in, said, you know, I'd love to, you know, put a culvert or rock or whatever else is, but I've got a lot of my section guys running trucks just to finish chip seal way past me. So, yes, I don't know. I mean, to say pay raise across the board, I don't know if that's the answer. That's very tough to do when we're facing, you know, having budget issues or budget, constraints. So,
Could we come up with an objective system somehow with job responsibilities?
I can do that. Come back with a proposal as to, you know, whether it's to change or modify positions descriptions, but ultimately the thing is that I'm going to face is most of the guys, the number one thing they're concerned about is pay.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is, whether we can offer them enough to satisfy their, you know, or whatever else. With the economy being like it is, they have the option to go elsewhere. So I think it'd be nice to do something, but I just don't know what it would be. But yeah, I can come up with a plan as far as that goes.
I'd like to, the commission, if they agree to direct, to have a directive that Bryce come up with an objective rating system, so we'd be able to adjust our operators for their appropriate level of ability as a directive to bring back to us, what, 12th?
Tuesday? Yep. Okay.
Is that an agreement?
Yeah, so
Anybody against?
I agree.
we have to keep talking about this and keep working on it to try to better our employees and ourselves,
Well,
take care of.
Yeah, I would like the fact is not only take care of the employees we have, but maybe encourage more people to apply.
Yeah.
So, because obviously that's the other thing we face is within a couple of years, we're gonna have a couple more retirements, and so. Okay, sounds good there. Okay, you have anything else? No? Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Ready for public comments?
I believe so.
Do you have any public comments?
Nobody has put anything in the chat or has unmuted, so.
Take some time to type, but if they would just hit enter with a blank space if you're.
I think everybody's happy today. Got any commissioner comments? I've got a couple of, I want to thank everybody who came out to the chili contest and feed. They had over 400 people there on a rainy day. So it was quite a crowd, and I want to thank Isaac and his crew for pulling it off. We did move inside, but it worked fine. Everybody got to see everybody. And also Thursday, either late Wednesday night or early Thursday morning, the boat dock will arrive. And the crew will arrive, and they're going to assemble it and put it in the water in one day. That's the plan right now.
Sounds good.
Just the dock though, right?
Yeah, just gonna float the dock.
They still got to build the structure
Yeah.
on it.
It won't be completed, it'll be floating. You know, if anybody else has anything, coming along over to Hillsborough on the building.
Yep,
John?
got the, just about got the framework up
Yeah.
when I drove by it before noon. Moving forward.
So there's lots of things going on in Marion County.
The, I think there's a forum tonight.
Yes, there's a school board forum tonight at
School.
Hillsborough High School gym, I believe, at 7
It's
o'clock.
put on by the government
Class,
class of
Hillsborough High School, yeah.
What's it?
So they're, government's in Hillsborough in their class there. I mean, they're
The
taking
students will be
initiative.
interviewing the
Yeah.
candidates. I
Yeah.
think.
And on the 23rd will be, Marion School Board Forum, that's what's the Sunday? 24th. 24th at 7 o'clock at the Elgin.
Yeah.
Encourage people to go.
Yeah, we've been talking about civic duty and not everybody older is getting younger, but it was nice to see that the government class, Hillsborough,
Yeah.
took it on themselves.
Yeah. Because I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.